So for our group, we chose Buddhism, and Buddhism has multiple religious objects, such as temples and shrines represented here, and Buddhas, which are in the middle, as well as several different types of guardians, such as one guardian that is the guardian of the Buddhist doctrine, so they kind of look really fierce and angry, and it's supposed to frighten away all the devils so that they are all sacred. The social organization of Buddhism is, rather than a typical structure that they follow, they just practice in temples, or they can be in small groups, and you can practice at your home and to your convenience, so they're pretty flexible. And connections with other religions represented by the hands. Buddhism arose from Hinduism, so therefore there is some Hinduism integrated into Buddhism. And then Buddhism is believed to influence the development of Taoism or Taoism in China. So you can see Buddhism throughout there. And then there are also several religious figures, but the main ones on Earth, and the main ones are the Dalai Lama and the Sangha, which is the community of monks. And then there's also the Bodhisattvas, which are people who are preparing for alignment to become monks. So they're seen as spiritual figures that everyone should follow and look up to.
Okay, so next we're going to be talking about the symbols. The first very main symbol that you see a lot in Buddhism is the wheel of law, or truths and law, and it's basically the footprints of Buddha and how he reached enlightenment, and also the story of what he overcame and the suffering and his the truths of what his steps were to enlightenment. And also the next symbol is this. This is the symbol of it's basically the Hindu symbol for Buddhism, and yeah, it represents Buddhism basically. And obviously Buddha, which basically means all of them, all sums up to the Buddhist religion. And the key myths of Buddhism is, one is the Four Noble Truths. The first is dukkha, it's the suffering and the loneliness, so basically it's all deprivation of everything. So you have frustration, loneliness, embarrassment, and all those type of things. And the second truth is summa daya, which is the cravings and deprivation. So you have to deprive yourself from all the cravings that you want, so such as love, lust, and the want of things. The third is nirodha, which is to overcome this suffering and to be completely happy with all the sufferings and to overcome it. And the fourth one is marga, which is to attain nirvana. And so nirvana is basically like their heaven. It's one of the key myths also, because that's what everyone tries to be enlightened and to be in nirvana, in a state of nirvana. And the creation of myths, it was basically the steps of Buddha and how he attained nirvana, and basically it's based on the wheel of truths. Oh, and the numbers. So the numbers 8 represent, the 8 steps of Buddha and his life. Number 5 represents the 5 qualities of enjoyment, which is mirror, lute, incense burner, fruit, and silk. And then number 4 represents the 4 gods, which is samsara, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And the 3 represents the 3 refugees, the 3 worlds, and the 3 realms, which is desire realm, form realm, and the formless realm.
Okay, to go off what she was going on about was the Four Noble Truths. The 4th step goes into the Eightfold Truths, which are basically perfect understanding, perfect thought, perfect speech, perfect action, and within the action you must be good at these 5 things, which is avoid killing, avoid taking which has not been given to you, avoid committing sexual conduct, avoid using false words, and avoid taking any alcohol or in other toxicants. And the 5th out of the 8 Eightfold Truths are perfect livelihood, perfect effort, perfect mindfulness, and perfect concentration. If you complete all these tasks, you obviously hit nirvana, which is their way of saying you've hit the top of your religion, and you can live life happier. And the other parts of where Christine was going off was kind of attached in a way to Hinduism, and they both broke off each other. And Hinduism came before Buddhism, so the Buddhists were kind of kicked out of India in a way, because they were seen as taking the same kind of acts as them. And so when Buddhism broke out of India, they moved to China in the first millennium, which didn't last that long in China, but from there it moved into Southeast Asia, where for most people known as like Thailand, it's pretty much a really serious religion in that country. And some modifications that happened through the years of Buddhism, their first kind of way of Buddhism was Theravada, which was in the 1st century AD. The second form of Buddhism was Mahayana, which is probably the most influential type of Buddhism today, and that formed in the 2nd century AD. And the most recent one, which came in 1976 in the western side, is Kadampa, which was the latest one that had formed.
Buddhism has many forms of rituals, which is meditation, which is the mental concentration and mindfulness, the mantras, which is sacred sounds, the mudras, which is symbolic hand gestures, the prayer wheels, which are reciting mantras with the turn of a wheel, pilgrimage, which is visiting sacred sites, and the veneration of Buddhists and deities. And really the whole basis of Buddhism is reaching nirvana. The only way to reach nirvana is to become a Buddhist monk, and which means that you have to leave your family and friends to join a Buddhist monastery. Also, there are many forms of extremism in Buddhism, but even though Buddhism is a religion based upon peace and, respecting your own body, different forms of extremism vary from different other types of religions, such as in Buddhism, extremism is some monks and Buddhist people beat themselves to prove that they can feel no pain, and starve themselves until they're not hungry anymore, which are just different forms of extremism in Buddhism. Thank you.